These are the movies that have opened 10 and 20 years ago on this very weekend. So, Ashley, what has come out a decade and 2 decades ago?
Well, 10 years ago, there was Superman Returns and The Devil Wears Prada. And then 20 years ago, there was Independence Day and Phenomenon.
Okay, Independence Day is a big one because we just got that god-awful sequel to it. I still maintain that Independence Day, when it came out, was an event. It was one of the biggest event films of the entire decade, and a lot of the reason why is because, yeah, we get a lot of comic book movies now and stuff like that, like these big tentpole movies. Independence Day came out, and we didn't have a whole lot of stuff like that. Like, Star Wars was basically dead in the 90s until we got Phantom Menace in 99, and Independence Day was one of those movies that just, it was fun, it was big, it had great visual effects, you had awesome personalities. Will Smith going into his prime. You had Jeff Goldblum, who wasn't that far removed from us all loving him in Jurassic Park. So many laughs, so much fun in that movie. It was a great time. I probably saw that thing 3 or 4 times in the theater. And then as far as 10 years ago, I remember Superman Returns and seeing it and loving the John Williams theme being back. I loved when I got to hear those strokes on the big screen. I thought the plane rescue scene was pretty sweet, and then that movie fell off the rails for me in the last third, so I wasn't a huge Superman Returns fan. But Independence Day, despite whatever your franchise does to me now as an adult, I will always have a soft spot in my heart for the first one. How about you, Clark?
Yeah, you guys know I love Independence Day, but I think that movie really solidified a lot of people's careers. It solidified Will Smith as Will Smith is 4th of July. You know, if you grow up in a certain time period like I did, if it's 4th of July weekend, we're getting a Will Smith movie. And I missed that, to be honest with you. And also Roland Emmerich. I mean, not to say he wasn't doing things before, but that movie, I think, really solidified him as that guy to bring that kind of entertainment. I don't want to skip over, what was the other one?
Devil Wears Prada was 10 years ago, and then Phenomenon was
Phenomenon.
also 20
I'll
years
skip
ago.
over Phenomenon. But Devil Wears Prada, I definitely wanted to mention too. That movie did a lot, surprising, and it was very well received. Meryl Streep got an Oscar nomination for that movie. I rewatched it recently. I didn't love it. You know, I read the book. I liked the book. I didn't love the movie, but I rewatched it recently, and it still holds up. It's a really nice. It's a good story about a girl growing up and kind of coming to terms with what she wants and what she doesn't want. And I like that. Emily Blunt. I don't know about you guys. That introduced me to Emily Blunt.
Yeah, that was the big one. Her big intro.
And she was hilarious. But I also want to, what was the other? Oh, Superman Returns. Okay. I did not like Superman Returns. I don't think it's aged well. But I want to say, and I've said this before, that of all the problems I had with Superman Returns, Brandon Routh was not one of them. Right. I thought he was a great Superman, and I thought he was an even better Clark Kent. And I know it doesn't say a lot about your Superman movie if the love triangle was the most interesting part. But for me, I did like seeing the way they played off Lois and James Marsden's character and Superman played off each other. I like Brandon Routh in this role. I wish he could have gotten to do more. I am not a big Bryan Singer fan, and I think really Bryan Singer holds the blame for Superman Returns, not Brandon Routh. And I think he kind of paid the price for it.
All right, Schnepp, 10, 20 years ago, what do you got?
Well, I love Devil Wears Prada. Clark summed it up really great. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
Never seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Never seen it.
All right. Well,
It's actually a good movie.
Superman Returns, I fell asleep twice in the theater. It's boring. He lifts a kryptonite planet at the end of the film. It's stupid. It's a horrible Superman film. You could watch it and it's great cinematography and there's really fun elements and a few cool scenes. Spacey as Lex Luthor was great as Lex Luthor, but he wasn't really given anything to do except buy dirty kryptonite rocks at the end.
Spacey as Gene Hackman.
Oh my God!
I mean,
yeah, it's just kind of, especially, you're right, it doesn't age well. It's like there are some people who are revisionists who are coming back and saying, oh, that movie is one of the better Superman movies. It's not. It's a horrible Superman movie, and it's not even that good of a film as it is. It's just very boring and kind of doesn't make really any sense. They set all this stuff up and then continue to make plot and script problems all the way through the end, where you have Superman basically lifting the thing that will kill him and make him have no powers, kryptonite, but he's lifting literally a giant mountain of it into space. I mean, you know, he lifts things throughout the entire film. So if you like watching Superman lift things, that movie is for you.
That is one of his qualities.
Yeah, he lifts
He can
about
lift
30
heavy
things.
stuff.
He lifts the Daily Planet logo. He lifts a couple of, cars.
Airplane.
It's incredible how many things he lifts. Check it out. It's action-packed lifting. Independence Day, love that movie. Saw it July 4th, opening weekend. I was still living in Chicago at the time, but I was out here on a job in 1996. And me and my gal at the time went to see that film, and it was an incredible experience. I loved it. It was one of the greatest popcorn films that you could possibly see, like us versus the aliens, uniting the whole planet. That was Roland Emmerich when he still had his, I think, his directing abilities and a skill set that was still there. Like, if you look at some of his really early work, like Moon 44, check that out, Sweaties. That's actually a kind of a fun, low-budget film that's set on the moon with Michael Pere, and it's like a cool science fiction film. And he was like slowly getting his chops to make an Independence Day, and then everything kind of went downhill for him. He's just exploding stuff left and right. Now he's gonna, what else do you have left to explode?
Well, he's gonna make the moon fall.
Yeah, Moonfall.
Well, you said Michael Pere. He played Eddie Wilson, kids.
That's
Eddie and the Cruisers.
right, Eddie and
Great
the Cruisers,
movie.
baby. So that's it. Phenomenon. I don't have nothing to say about.